we should get started. Good evening. So my name is Wang, as it's stated here. I'm the chair of the national board with the United Chinese Americans, and I'm also the co-chair of the host organization, New England Chinese American Alliance, among other things. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the Newton Free Library. I would like to acknowledge all the peoples and the organization made it happen, especially our host, Chinese American Association of Newton. Thank you, CAAN, for hosting us. And thank you, the Newton Free Library. And thank you all for coming in a beautiful, beautiful summer evening. So without further ado, I would like to get today's forum started. So the idea is for our community, for many, many years, we have been advocating for civic participation. And finally, we have this group of pioneers, and they're one step further to get into the political engagement. Right, so they are doing so through either elected positions or appointed positions. And that's where this panel is fantastic, because you're going to see many different flavors. And I think there's going to be one flavor that fits you. So in Chinese, we say, 总有一款适合你. Okay, so the panelists are just like you and me, right? So they're professionals, and they're raising families, taking care of families. They're running businesses, and so many other things. So the question is why they're doing this, right? So of course, the important thing we all realize is we need to be at the table. We need to speak up, we need to participate. And that's the very spirit of why they're here. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be having some set questions asked them, and each of them will share with us their thoughts, their journey, and there's a perspective, and I will introduce them as well. So first, I'm going to have MP, answer the question, but I will first do a brief introduction about MP. So MP, as you all know, is the school committee member here in Newton since 2018. From my point of view, I remember we kicked off this school committee campaign in the Millennium Tower on one of the penthouse, in Boston, where we're overlooking the beautiful city view, and that day, MP announced to the team about the Chinese Americans in Massachusetts. So it was a start in a cloud, and we call it Cloud 9. And I hope he has been somewhat coming onto the ground as well. But anyway, so besides his involvement as the school committee, he's also the principal founding chair of the Chinese school here. And is also, vice president of the Chinese American Association of Newton, and is also still the board member. And he also founded the Newton Education Network, among other things, right? So without further ado, so here's the question for actually not only for Enping, for all of you. So Enping, so here today the focus is about your school committee, right? So among your many other roles we'd like to talk about. So the point is, why did you do it? What prompted you to throw your hat in the ring? I remember how you kicked off your campaign, and can you share with us about your real journey? Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for introduction. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much for introduction, Hua, and I really appreciate that. You remind me of the beginning of my campaign, and that was 7 years ago. At that time, I had no clue, but with people's support. I like to acknowledge people who really support me, and 3 minutes, I hope I have enough time, but I'm looking at Luo Ping, Michelle Luo, and now she is the president of Newton Chinese American Association, and giving me a lot of support, and we walking around to knock the door and met a lot of people. And also, Amy Sangiello here. And we can talk more about Amy Sangiello, but I just want to say she was running mayor at that time. So we support each other, but she was my mentor. So we could go back more than 20 years, probably 25, almost 30 years when she came here and ran for city council. She been here only 18 months, and she challenged incumbent. Unimaginable. Even now, it's hard for me to imagine. And she lost, and then request to check the votes. lost by 50 votes, and check, and she win by 18 votes. By 18 votes. This will be a classical story for many people here who are interested in politics. You never give up. You're always working hard. And if you did not work hard, nothing will happen. Okay, 3 minutes just self-introduction or answer your question? Okay. Now you can see my passion for this. So inspired by many people and including Zhen Li here. She had fundraising party for me and for Amy. That was tremendous. And her husband, Yongqi, also my colleague at the school, at the Newton Chinese American Association. Yongqi was former president of the Chinese language school board, and it was tremendous help. And that was lucky to win that campaign. And so I'm very grateful. And that's why it's time for us to speak out, get involved, work together. That's the theme of today. And I will repeat this again. Speak out, get involved, work together. I will have a story for you, but that will be later. Thank you.
Thank you, MP. And so, before we get to Gary, let me say a few words about him. Gary, of course, officially, today, he said he's the commissioner of the Asian American Pacific Commission of Massachusetts. His appointment is significant in the sense that I think he's maybe the first one from his background from mainland China being appointed to the commission. And his position, of course, like says nomination and appointment. So it's different from elected, running for campaign to get elected. Right? And he's, of course, is also the liaison, with the state auditor's office to the Asian American community. Also the liaison from the Suffolk attorney, office, district attorney office as well. And among his community service, he is actually our president of NECAA. And he's also the president of Papa chapter, and he's also the president of UCMA. Start counting my hands. My entities. So I think if I keep counting, it's probably going to take all my fingers here. And but in whatever the things he's doing, right, he's always showing his passion. I mean, NECAA has been behind the Michelle Wu's campaign from the very beginning, but Gary is very so in driving our support for Michelle, and also of course Governor Maura Healey and this and that. Right? So everybody saw Gary wear a Red Sox T-shirt today. Gary, can you stand up?
Yes.
Yeah, T-shirt. And it has the beautiful API on it. Look at his back. So this is the dragon. It's the year of the dragon. So this is actually, I was talking to somebody, this warrants a special mention. Because on May 1st, Red Sox had an API Day, and to kick out the API Heritage Month. And Gary was invited to throw the first ceremonial pitch. And so several of us were on the field with him. That was an immense day, immensely proud day for him, and I think for our community. Okay, so Gary, without further ado, can you answer the same question? Why do you do this? And what prompted you to do all of the things you're doing? Thank you.
3 minutes? Okay, 2 minutes enough. Why? I think it's because start the pandemic. Yeah, because I'm the long time for the reporter for cover our community, the news for this independence, but not for the left or right. But during the pandemic, I sense my very good friends, Boston City Councilor Evelyn. The pandemic, we got an Asian hate. So the community, I got a lot of the bad news from with us. So the Boston City Councilor Evelyn told me so. If you or your friend or your community got some problem with the Asian hate, if you tell the police department this is not for the help, you just let me know. I can help you and your community. I think it's after that. I think that we organize together, like the chain 1 hour. We are doing it together, so helping our community and accept that like a NECAA, that the non-profit organization should do that. So start that, and I think I enjoy for that. And then how to get some voice from us and get the whole, like the government, like the political, like the community know. We can just do together, you know. Let the community will be better and better, I think. So this is why I do this. 2 minutes? Okay, 1 minute.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary. We all know how, when you work with Gary, you can feel the passion. And we often feel like it's hard to keep up with him. So, he seems to be never running out of energy. So, of course, next we have Guanghua Gao. Okay. And he's from Belmont. And as of now, he is serving in his second term of town meeting members. And town meeting is very interesting governance, format in the New England area. And it's quite unique, among the nation. This is essentially the 人大代表, but at the town level. Okay? And Guanghua, of course, he's also, been involved in 2 organizations, for example, the Belmont Chinese American Association. And he's also, with the mainstream organization Belmont for Education Foundation. And of course, one of the things that in my interaction with him, he's also, being the member of force and the co-chair of the AAPI, the Heritage, Drive campaign from Belmont. So that's the more broadly a coalition, not just from Chinese American, Asian American. That's the entire community coming together. So one of the pioneer things they did, this is something, one time Guanghua and I were talking about something else. Actually, it was regarded to the Deep South, Far East, documentary Belmont wanted to do as a screening, and then invited us, this is a Chinese American Association of Elections in Cal, to be a partner. When we were talking, I said, hey, Guanghua, what are you up to? He said, they're also going to organize the AAPI 5K. I said, really? Okay, of course. So they run a 5K at the beginning of the month, and Lexington followed with a 5K in the end of the month. That was 2 years ago. Now both towns have run them 3 times in a row. So I really attributed Guanghua for, in this case, like typically Lexington is first in just about everything. Sorry, but we were really learning, from Belmont. Thank you for that. So Guanghua, can you talk about why did you get into this? Why did you get into all this trouble? Thank you.
Thanks to Wang for the warm introduction, and I'd like to thank the organizers first, for this opportunity, and also I'm honored to be among these very distinguished speakers here tonight. So the reason for me to run for Belmont town meeting is very simple, because I cannot get anybody else to do it. So I failed, miserably. So it all started from 2021, you all know the Atlantic shooting. That was like a wake-up call for many, many Chinese Americans or Asian Americans in large, because we realized we cannot be siloed in your own community. No matter what you do, you are still considered to be a foreigner, or there are lots of Asian hate, during the pandemic, of course. So that was the year I was the vice president for BCA, Belmont Chinese American Association. One of our missions is to encourage our members to run for public office, to get involved in the local and school affairs. We made some progress, but still that's way from perfect. We like to see more and more people to do that. So since that, I really talked to many people and try to encourage them to run for town meeting, because that's where the real business happens. The town meeting is the representative, is the legislative body of Belmont government. It's, as Wang pointed out, it's very original, quintessential, New England form of democracy. So, you vote on the budget, you change the bylaws and things like that. So I talked to many people and see if they are interested. In the end, I was not able to convince anyone to do it. And then I realized, why not, you talk the talk, why not walk the walk? So you should lead by example. That's why, I run. So I did pretty well in the first, at that time we had all 36 positions open for the town meeting because of the redistricting. So I was among the middle one, so I got a 2-year term. And then later on this year, I got, the full 3-year term. So I'm still trying to get more people to get into the town meeting. Hopefully I have, hopefully I'm lucky this time around. Thank you.
Thank you, Wang Hua. So next person is Kong Xuan, right? And so I think I may be among this group of people who get to know you the first, because I think that was many, many years ago. And of course, if you're looking back, Xuan was acting, Boxborough School Committee member starting in 2007. That was really before, our community members, was really running any elected, officers, position in Massachusetts. So we knew Xuan was sort of like a pioneer there. So we actually invited Xuan to come over, and to share his experience with us, on many, many fronts. And even until today, that was maybe 2011-ish, that classical picture about us meeting in one cherry street, with the entire Cal team together. That remains a milestone picture even in the Cal history. So that was how special, that time Xuan was. And he also served 2 years as the committee chair. I still vividly remember the things he shared with us about if you want to get anything done, you need to organize the parents and the students to write letters, and then so on and so forth. And then, of course, there's a few things that Acton Boxborough, lead the course with some of the community. For example, they were one of them considered the Lunar New Year, and this on and off, the whole story behind there. But Xuan, of course, hasn't really, after the school committee, as for example, now he is the, the board president of the Discovery Museum. And that's a museum I used to take my kids to there, because we used to live in Concord. And it's a neighboring town, so we go there all the time. And so now I'm happy that you're taking care of it. And he's also actually established another organization, Asian American Civic Engagement, and he's also, being on the volunteer coordination committee with Acton. It was on the town manager search committee, among many other things. So in many senses, Xuan is a true pioneer, but of course he is also professionally is very accomplished as well. And so, so that part of it today, we'll let them, dive into that. But Xuan, so you were very early in this game. What the heck, why did you do it?
Okay, here we go. So, thank you, Bob. So I guess there's two versions of this answer. One is, the real answer is, I had no idea what I was doing. But since I'm on this panel, I guess we can all sort of resonate with some of the things we memorize when we were learning English when we first trying to think about coming to US, which is what President Kennedy said, right? Ask not what country can do for you, but ask what you can do for the country. So all of us voluntarily choose to come to this country, right? And so this becomes our home. And if you think of this as your home, then you don't just sit there, act like a guest. You just want to help, do things with your other family members, which is your community members. I think that's really the reason motivated all of us, and it's motivated me to run for school committee and others, and serve the community and giving back to the community in many different ways. One of the benefits, there are many benefits of serving the public One is you somewhat get to know by people you otherwise would not. Hua was just giving a perfect example. If I weren't on school committee, I wouldn't probably know Hua for the last 20 years and many other guests here. That's a loss, and we are all going to be in our little circle, and really community service really allows me, and I'm sure everybody else as well, to enlarge your social circle, social network, because that's how you make big influence through your network on your community. So it's fun, so I encourage everyone to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Xuan. And so next person is Hao Wang, right? He's really so he's probably here has really interesting story to tell. He has been a very successful entrepreneur, right? And then he has held many positions, appointed position. For example, he was the deputy commissioner of the state of New York mental health. And he was he was the chief information officer of the SUNY system, so on and so forth, right? Among all of the things. But somehow last year, we got into touch with each other, of course, through him and many of the people here. He said he's going to run for the Cambridge City Council. And of course, he has been a resident for the Cambridge, for many years, as he claims. But all of the time, he's traveling all over the place, from New York and maybe parts of even overseas of this. But he come back, and then I remember we had a meeting with him about talking about supporting him for his run for the city council. And he shared why he wanted, what he was seeing the problem and why he wanted to run for it. And so here, the interesting story is that he decided to run it. I still remember he said there's only two positions that's of interest to him. One is the Cambridge, City Council, then the mayor of Cambridge City, and the other is the governor of Massachusetts. Okay, so that's a two position he has aspiration for. But he didn't succeed. But that's actually where maybe making this story very interesting. So I'd like to hear him, what he did, why he did it, right? Why he, after everything else you have done, and why did you want to run for the city council, what you have in mind? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Wang Hua. Well, first of all, why I'm here today is because I want to pay my appreciation to NECAA, and also I want to thank especially Ge Qian, Wang Hua, and Guo Liang. Because when I first came back to Cambridge last year, when I decided to run, it was only about 2 weeks of decision. I came back around June, and in July decided to run. And I think NECAA was one of the first organizations that endorsed me. I appreciate it. I mean, I remember in November, a very chilly day, Ge Qian was there, Amy was there, many of you were there.
Amy's car was full of your campaign signs.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it. So if I can do anything for NECAA, I would. And this is the least I can do.
You can write us a check.
Yes, I will. So count on that. The thing is that why now the real question, right? So I first of all, somebody told me my picture is too young. So I have a confession to make. So that picture was 7 years ago. That's the only picture that I wear makeup in my entire life. I don't take picture very often. So I just, when people ask me to send you a picture, I select that one. So that was the interview with American Club in Beijing about 2017. So I admit I'm much older than that picture. So why I ran, well, I've been in public service for more than 10 years. I was in Cuomo administration as one of the senior officials. I was one of the cabinet member for SUNY system, which is, both organizations were big. It's about $7 billion per year operation. So I've been very familiar with this, especially coming from New York, and I came back to Cambridge. I do not want my home city to deteriorate. That's really the reason, because There's migrant crisis in New York City. The streets are dirty and the crime rate is soaring. And we have early signs in my city. So that's really the reason I ran. Not because I needed a job, but because that I want to defend my city. I want the city to be safe and clean and everything good for my sons who's gonna come here to study. So it's very simple. I think we have the obligation to defend our home, to protect our community and work for the Commonwealth for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah, that was very inspiring. So now we get to the only woman in this panel. And so I remember, the first time I think Emma and I met, I think we were probably at the Panera or something. We're talking about fundraising for something, And then, of course, that's probably from that point on, it's been nonstop. And I think she has a long list of the things. And in particular, she founded a new State Culture Center in Washington. Among other things, she's been involved with the PDA, PDOs at different levels, primary school, middle school, and high school. But today, she's coming in as our newly minted town meeting member. So this is only 3 months, maybe less than 3 months fresh. And then through a very interesting writing campaign. So she was not on the ballot and decided to writing a few days before the election and made it happen. So, as a mother of 2 kids, all of this, why did you do it? And what's the point? Thank you.
Thank you. So I have been, like Hua said, involved initially with the community volunteering work with CalPAC, and I think that's what started me off to try to look into doing more for the community, not just the small house chores or kids and laundry and all that. And so the short answer, I think, is actually for the kids. Because if you think about it, yes, they need you for all these chores, but they need you more for, like I said on the flyer, to be a role model of how to be a citizen here. And if they plan on staying here, which I think my kids are, they need to learn that. But the funny thing is that I actually soon found out they learned actually better than me and earlier than me, way earlier than I knew it. So it is more of a catch up for me as I did it and I realized that. Another reason I ran like 3 days before, as you can see from this ballot, there is like on the right bottom corner, there is only 4 writing candidates and there is 7 seats. So we kind of thought, okay, it's going to be an easy writing, right? You only have to be like the top 3. And it ended up being 16 writings. And it's like one of the most competitive writing campaigns ever. But we managed to get in still with all the help of, like you saw earlier, the pictures. But I think that's the 2 major reasons that I ran, is that I kind of miscalculated the effort that is needed for this campaign. But finally, we did still get in, so being lucky. Thank you.
Thank you. So all of them, so we hear where they started, when did they start, why they started. So now let's ask them after them have been serving in their roles, after the campaign, after serving all of this. So we'd like to hear, you guys, what have you been through and have done? So perhaps share the highlights, the triumphs, but as well as challenges and struggles. The things you're proud of, but the things you struggle with, and also at this point of time, right? It's a reflection point in life, and what will be your take-home message for the community, for all the audience here, and for the later for the people who are going to watch the video here. So why don't we still going to start with MP because we have to take a long break.
Thank you very much. I did not say much about why I was running, but I have a very good story, and I cannot wait to tell the story. As you all know, that Newton School Committee passed a resolution to add Lunar New Year to the school official calendar as school closed the holiday. And how did that happen? I think that would tie in why I was running and what happened, what's the challenges. To Chinese and the Asian communities, Lunar New Year is a big deal. How big? Many people even did not understand fully. When I tell them why it's so important, Lunar New Year is a combination of American Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. 3 holidays combined, if you want to compare the significance of Lunar New Year. Why? For Lunar New Year, the family members get together, eat together, and then give the gifts, and then celebrate the New Year. And hope for the prosperous, happy New Year for the family, for the individual person, and for society. So it's very significant. And when I was Chinese school principal, we had a celebration, and my son, a high school student, he was wondering, why, Daddy, we did not celebrate Lunar New Year? At the beginning of school year, we celebrate 2 Jewish holidays. I kind of knew answer, but I did not want to take him. I said, talk to school committee chair. She might give you answer. And I made arrangement for my son, as a high school student, to meet the school committee chair, and Lana, who happened to be my advisor for my school committee campaign. It's interesting. That was 20 years ago. But anyway, that was a long story. And of course, it did not happen. We had a dream. We want to celebrate this. And then fast forward, 2017, when we had the Chinese American Association of Newton, we have Chinese school, and we have other Korean language school. We all combined, say, let's appeal to school committee to see if they'll consider to add Lunar New Year as school closed holiday, so-called Category 1 holiday. And Cindy's husband, Yongqi, at that time, just stepped down as the Chinese school board chair, and very active in the committee. And we also invite the Cantonese language school. We asked all of them to support. And then school committee member decided, well, it's too long the process. They finally decided to add Lunar New Year and Diwali, which is Hindu holiday, the festival of light, and Eid al-Fitr, which is Islamic holiday. All 3 holidays as Category 2 holidays on school calendar, meaning school will still be in session, but kids can take the day off to celebrate. And we were very happy at that time. I happened to join school committee next year. However, it turned out school in session, hardly any Asian families, Chinese families, would like their kids stay at home to celebrate Lunar New Year while school is still in session. So, and sometimes teacher forgot, oh, this is a holiday, you're not supposed to give students homework or doing any testing, quiz in class. So, that situation. And then 2022, when a group of Newton South High School students started a petition at change.org saying, we want to have Lunar New Year as school Category 1 holiday. And I heard that. I was very excited. Now students start this. And meanwhile, Brookline and Wheeling, because the students push and appeal, they passed, school committee passed resolution to add Lunar New Year as school holiday. I was very encouraged. And of course, this is a speak out. We did speaking out, that first part. Now get involved. So luckily, the Newton superintendent just retired. We have new superintendent. I'm telling all the story now, but this is public information. So And, she asked me, what's your priorities for new school year? I listed quite a few things, including the Lunar New Year. I said, I hope that this will be reality. And of course, our superintendent is very methodical, very thoughtful. She checked around and talked to Hopkinton School District, which just added Lunar New Year, Diwali, and Eid as school holidays. So she asked, what's the takeaway? Did the school survey and ask community feedback, and then you decide. And at that time, I was a little bit anxious. Can I, while you have another question, right?
Yes.
Can I combine the time? I want to finish the story. I really want to finish the story.
You can use my
Because
it's
it's important.
So
Okay.
we'll give you 30 more seconds.
Okay. So, you see, I was anxious. Community's feedback. Anyway, it took quite a few months to develop survey. And then you give survey. And then you collect the survey. And then you analyze data. It took almost a whole year. And I was anxious. I said, Kathy, she is superintendent. I said, this is too long. What will happen? Well, she's a very smart person. And she only served 1 year. So I could see now, looking back, she did not want to face situation, if she made a decision. So this is, looking back, this is very good. But I was anxious. And then last summer, our new superintendent came here. And she looked at data, and we did analyze. And then decided, because based on survey, more than 20% of students, faculty, member, and parents decide Lunar New Year is very important. Among those people who support the Lunar New Year, 80% think we should have day off. Almost close as those people who support the Jewish holidays. Now that's critical. So school committee decided if more than 20% of the members support this holiday, that will be critical mass. Meet that critical mass, so we will celebrate. So superintendent recommend to school committee will include Lunar New Year as a holiday. And for the Diwali and for the Eid, well, we decide they only count only 5-10%, no more than 10%. So, but when time comes, we will consider. Okay? So that's the decision. Some people said, thank you for this great work. No, I cannot take the credits. I did some push. I speak out. I get involved. But you have to work together. Now, let me finish story. Why it's important to finish this story. After we passed this resolution to add Lunar New Year, 2 districts had similar things happen. Lexington and Quincy. 2 different stories. For Quincy, it's wonderful. School committee, someone contact me, say, Anping, how did you do that? Share with your experience. I told them experience, and they passed add 3 holidays. Lunar New Year, Diwali, Eid to school holidays. And it's unanimous vote. Wonderful. But what about Quincy? Both Lexington and Quincy.
You meant to say Lexington in the first place.
What about Quincy? Yes, that's a smart way, but well, that will be more impressive when people remember that. So for Quincy, they both have over 40% of Asian students, the highest district in Massachusetts.
No, Lexington is highest.
Yes, but I'm saying both. Number 1, number 2. But that's the problem here. Listen, what did happen to Quincy School District? 1 to 6 lost this vote. Only 1 person who proposed this supported. Other 6.
Okay, MP.
So what's the story here? The moral of the story is you have to speak out, but you have to get involved. Prepare this. This will not happen overnight. Lexington has a lot of story to share with you how the Asian and Chinese community working hard in the community. So you will get the support very quickly. But I don't know the other situation, but I know Lexington pretty well. So that's a moral story. I hope you guys will remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so each town has, thank you, MP. Each town has its own process, its story. Lexington had the task force, working also multiple years. and then, but anyway, but I think that this is sort of like a collective effort from the entire community on this front. And I think the number of people here have something to say about that as well. And so I'm going to break out of the order a little bit because I'm going back to Shen. So can you, because I think Acton actually had earlier effort on this, and including our neighboring town Concord, but then there may be some dial back and this and that. But anyway, we also like to hear you. You're being here, the earliest in this elected position stuff. So, this is a reflection, I'd like to hear from you as well. Thank you.
Well, since I've been talking so much about Chinese New Year, can I talk about something else?
Yes.
Yes, you have to.
I have to. Okay. So one of the challenges, and honestly, in Acton, when I first started school committee, is in Acton, the elementary school has 2 bus schedules, right? So it depends on which school you go to. The kids could get to pick up earlier, or could pick up as late as 9 o'clock. So for many Chinese parents, dual professionals, it's not practical to wait for the bus to come at 9 o'clock and drive to Cambridge to work. Of course, many people working in the school district has been doing this for a long time, and many Chinese parents have this concern. They all want to have their kids called early drop-off options, meaning that some elementary school sort of serve both as a daycare. Parents can drop off their kids early so that they can go to work. One of the issues the school committee is sort of not so keen of this idea because they said, why we need to do this? There are daycares out there, and also many of our parents seems to be fine, they stay home and all these things. And this is where I think part of it, what Anping was talking about, the get engaged, communicate is very important because the fact I was on the school committee, I was able to share many of the stories and challenges of Chinese parents facing, particularly dual career families, and we just feel that it's important. We just told the other school committee members and administrators that this is challenging for us, right? We are a new immigrant and we don't have grandparents here to help us out. And this is a very critical issue, important to the parents' community. And as a result of that, the superintendent and his team was able to come up with a plan with school committee support to open up more schools for early drop-off. So this, on the one hand, help all the parents who need that service, not necessarily just Chinese parents, but also it also opened up some revenue sources for the school district. So in the end, it's a win-win situation. But there are times if we don't share our feedback to the power to be, right? In a sense, then it's not like some people don't want to help us or help anyone. It's sometimes with different life experience, some things may not be thought of as important or critical or useful. And by being on the school committee or by being writing to school committee and the superintendent, we get our voice heard, and most likely people are willing to help once we let them know what challenge we're facing and what solutions are out there to solve those problems. So I think communication is very, very important, and being in a decision-making position to do that can definitely facilitate that process. So that would be my takeaway.
Thank you, Xuan. So one of the things Xuan mentioned about through this involvement, not only in school committee but community, you get to know wonderful, wonderful people. I still remember Xuan came to the UCAMA, our, opening, like when we established the chapter, you came to our, ceremony. And and your wife came too. But that time I was inviting Xuan to come, and then Xuan's point is, oh, you just want to get my wife to perform for you guys. So that's really how wonderful the community. And his wife is a fabulous dancer, and many other things, they do together. So next, I think I'll get back to, I'll have Hua, you say a few things about your experience, your reflection, and what's your message for the community?
Sure. So being in town meeting is, to me, is an eye-opening experience. I really have very positive, experience, in town meeting. So as you know, the town meeting is non-political. So we vote on things like, whether we establish a building committee to build a park, whether we allow, to allow certain number of licenses for alcohols, for marijuana, that kind of things. So it's non-political and it directly affects, the everyday life of each student or just regular residents. So the town meeting, the forum is quite organized. We have wonderful town meeting moderator. The debate at times could be very intense because there are different opinions on a number of these issues. But we can conduct the town meeting business orderly and really learn something from that, the art of debate, to convince, to get the vote. So it's still a learning process for me. If we, as the first generation immigrants here to the United States, there are lots to learn, especially how to conduct this business, follow certain rules. So for Belmont, it's a parliamentary process, so you really learn a lot. And by participating in the town meeting, you also get to know lots of people. So that's quite important because you need that network. When it comes to time for your election, for example, when you want to submit a motion, you want to gain support from as many town meeting members as possible. So that's really an opportunity, not only for you to learn new stuff, but also you reach out to other people, other town meeting members to work together. So the first thing is getting involved. Of course, you need to get into the town meeting in order, in a sense, you have to be in the room around that table, when the decisions are made. So that's actually the thing I try to sell to potential town meeting candidates, is that your vote really matters. Sometimes it's just the margin is just by a few votes in town meeting. Another one is you get involved, then you get other people to work with you. So that's really something, I'm trained to be a scientist. I work, with cells or molecules, things like that, proteins. But working with real people to get their support, to get their collaboration, that's a lifelong learning process. You never can do it perfectly. So you have to, to learn that through process, through the real life experience in order to do that. For me, I think I consider it to be quite successful. Before I voted into town meeting, I already got to know lots of people through my community service work. So especially during the pandemic, the BCA, the Belmont Chinese American Association, we have a group of volunteers delivered the much needed masks to every household after they submitted their request, because at that time the supply was quite limited. So before that, the BCA is only known as a group who can really party, who can really host a Lunar New Year celebration. That's the biggest event. But we are doing much more and beyond that. So by actively involved in the community service, so we got their name out. Myself, it's not my intention back then to run for town meeting, but through that, those community services really laid the foundation for me to run for town meeting, because the utmost thing is you have to have your name recognition, because ordinary voters, they don't know who you are if you are not really step out and do things for the community. So through that process, I really learned, you really need to have, get your name out there, participate in the candidate night. So take advantage of everything you can get into to have your name out there. So, in order to run a very successful campaign. So it's not hard. It's fun process, at least for me. So I encourage everyone else who have the interest to give it a try and see how it works.
Thank you, Huang Hua. Actually, the pictures brought us many memories among us for sitting here, but that was quite an hour. And I think one of the interesting is none of the people here are career politicians, right? I mean, we mentioned about these are volunteers. And then, so in Lexington, we have, so-called Citizen Academy. So it's about 10 weeks introducing how the town government works. But the CAAN, we've been offering crash course on introduction to how the town works. I think for most of us, the new immigrant and this and that, we came surprised to see the, here in England, the towns, the city is run by volunteers. Right? So the school committee decides about 70% of the budget. It's all run by 5 school committee members that volunteers, and they have to campaign to get in. And then the rest of the 30%, this is covered, the fire, police, and everything else infrastructure, that's by the select board. That's also run by 5 people. And the major town committees, everything is run by volunteers. You'll get town managers, superintendents are paid employees, but everything is really the governing bodies. And this is something very different from us, grow up, from different culture coming here to come to appreciate. And these people really embodied, how the spirit about how they get involved, beyond what we normally do, right? So hats off to them. But now let me go to the end of the table. Emma, because she has been very new to this, and then so she can say a few words about her experience and this and that. And I do have a particular question. I am, part of the advocacy group for Lexington for Affordable Housing. So this year, there's Article 33, that's being a top topic in Lexington. But I think we did a wonderful job advocacy. So in the end, among 189 town meeting members in Lexington, only 5 people either voted no or absent. She's one of them. So, yeah, so anyway, tell us your experience. Yeah.
This is very unfair because you kind of stole my story that I wanted to tell. You can tell this is not rehearsed, and this is totally catching me off guard. So I got an email from a CAAN veteran who is not on town meeting, who's a long-time CAAN volunteer that I really respect very, very much. And then she was telling me, you really should, vote yes for this one. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna study on that. And I reached out to whoever I think was the Affordable Housing Committee and trying to understand the bill. And also, there's people who think both ways. And there is also people who is in my precinct that will be affected by this, who wrote to me and said, you really should say no. We count on your vote saying no for this. And I'm like, I'm going to study on this. And this is actually one of the most challenging one that I think to me, because I really didn't have enough time to, study the ins and outs. Even, it was, I think, 2-3 days before that has to be voted. So I tried my best to reach out and understand everything, and whoever wrote to me, I think I also offered, if we can sit down and talk about this, and you can tell me what you think. And I think she is also busy, so we didn't get a chance to really do that. I feel bad about that because, she's someone that I really respect very, very much, that, I definitely value her opinion, big deal. And I didn't want to let her down because she's like, I know that you're going to be able to make the right decision, and the yes is the right decision, and vote yes. So then it comes the day that this bill has to be voted. And what happens at town meeting is that usually you have the question session, so people start to line up and ask questions. or express their opinions, say why they think it's a yes and the other side says no. It's like a debate. And some people would also express that, oh, okay, after I asked my questions be answered, I decided I'm going to vote a yes or a no during their conversation. And it's a very lengthy Q&A during that session, and until at some point somebody called like stop, because that's also part of the process, that if someone says, I want to say let's end the debate, the moderator is going to try to pull a poll of how many people who thinks that yes, let's just stop now, how many think that you haven't heard enough of the debate, then you vote no. And I voted no, but I think most of the people said yes. So I feel like I haven't heard enough of the debate. And also, for the one who really said, I think it weighed a lot on me. For the one who wrote to me said, I really counted on your voting no on this. So I decided to do an abstain.
Thank you. So, I mean, this is actually an interesting example. That's why I raised the question, because you can see as an advocacy group, from my point of view, we have a group, we're Lexington for Affordable Housing. So we started the campaign. We have a full list of the town meeting members, and we're going to be listing who's going to contacting what, who's going to convincing what. So that's how you get engaged, right? So we talk about school committee, town meeting work. So this is except in this case, Emma is on the receiving end, right? So we have a sign. And we were really concerned because the Lexington in spirit will support something affordable housing, but this one, the way the article is written, it requires 2/3 of the vote. So that's changed the dynamics. And of course, in the end, even we are blown away by the results, because this is like a 97% or whatever approval. So what's going to happen? Well, Lexington's going to have affordable housing, and we're going to have a huge party celebrating. And Emma will be invited. That's okay. All right, so now let's see. So we'll go back to Wang Hao. So why don't you say a few things about your journey, your reflection at this stage? Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Gary, I promise I'll end on time. I'd like to extend our slogan today, right? So get engaged, speak up, and work together, right? Yep. I'd like to add 2 more to it. So one, don't be afraid. It's okay to fail. Because if I tell you that when I started it, I know the chance for me to get elected is very slim. But I wanted to do it because we can learn. I just came back from all this traveling and work, and this is the best place to learn what our neighbors and our community care about, and also get your name out there. So I knew it's not possible for me to get elected because you don't have years of accumulation of the goodwill of the people and all that. So let's start from somewhere and don't be afraid. So I learned, we learned quite a bit about Cambridge's own issue. Cambridge is a very different animal, right? So it's people call it a People's Republic of Cambridge for the reason, because the mayor is not directly elected, and it's not, it's a rank choice voting system. So it's very complicated. In order for you to get the enough #1 vote without people knowing you, it's very, very difficult. And the incumbents usually have farmed that place for years. They have great foundation. But we did a great campaign. We means many of you, I saw Richard here too, I appreciate, because even though we don't have the vote, because most of my volunteers do not live in Cambridge or have the right to vote, but it's fine because we were the envy of the whole system. I think a lot of the incumbents even come up to me saying that, how did you get so many volunteers? And they are all, holding our signs, almost like I was going to be elected. I knew we have some shortcomings because we don't have enough Asian vote in Cambridge. Not that I should have done much more work to discover, but we got to work on it. The other thing I want to add to the slogan is, we can lead. Don't be afraid, we can lead, because we are Chinese, right? We have a culture that is very balanced. In the political turmoil of late, there's the ultra-left, there's the right, and we need balance. And I talk to many of my community, a lot of Caucasian, a lot of old neighborhoods, white residents, and they need help too. They want to defend certain of their interests. And I met with many East Cambridge young people. They want bike, they want affordable housing. So how do you balance that? And we are coming from a culture that we are built to, and we live to balance things, right? So we have to interject our leadership in the environment that we are not familiar with. So it's not only we got to speak up, we got to get engaged, but also we need to be bold, and we can lead, and we can make our, I shouldn't say any of them make something great again, but we can make our city safe. When I first joined, people wanted to defund the police because there's a student got killed by a unfortunate event by a police officer. There's a strong anti-racism movement. People are, one side of city are accusing the other side of city of racism, right? And there's, at the end of it, in early October, there's a Palestinian and Israeli conflict. And there's candidates from Harvard campus who's the Middle Eastern heritage, and who has a lot of different interests, different voice. It's fascinating for us to get engaged and to learn the city you live in, and to be out there and to become a major candidate. I think even if I didn't win the seats, I think I can safely to say, I'm proud to say that many of my neighborhood, the major political party in Cambridge, two of them were thinking that I was one of the major candidates. And some people privately told me that they already think you were the mayor. But I knew that I don't have enough vote, because Asian folks, we need to have citizenship, we need to live in Cambridge, we need to register to vote, and we need to get the ballot and send it in. You see, 5 filters later, we don't have the enough first choice vote. That's how I felt, but I had fun, and I enjoyed it. And I'm very proud of our team effort. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the other thing is, we often say, you put money where your mouth is. And so how actually bankrolled his campaign. And so for that, you really did what you all set to do. And then I can see you enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And we all, enjoy the ride with him as well. We hope he, continue. Remember, you still have the mayor and the governor, right? So the point is actually the Cambridge political system is interesting. The mayor of Cambridge is really the president of the city council. So it's elected among the council members. And the real mayor who are running the city is called the city manager, of Cambridge. And for that also has election connection. So the Ian Huang right now is the city manager, is election product, and his parents are CAAN members, CAAN founders, CAAN treasurers, and now he is, running Cambridge, and Lexington is looking for a town manager. Anyone want to apply? And then that's also, right, so for that per se, that's also part of the political engagements as much elected officer. So Ian is actually the first ever Asian city manager in the history of Cambridge. So we also think about, when Xuan run for school committee, become the first one here among our community, right? Later on, Anping, followed election, Eileen J followed to become the first Chinese American Chinese woman to be on the school committee. And I think also, we also have a friend that got on the school committee in Zhengming Quan, was also in Westford. So there's a few among others doing it. But then I think without offending to the entire panelists, we're going to save the best for the last. We'll have Gary to share his journey. So.
I still have the time?
Yes.
Can I follow the Anping talking, right?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is really the moment
Yeah, I think
of, highlights and everything, and you'll probably have a lot, yeah, please.
Yes, I think the first one, congratulations, the new and Lexington got the school, the Lunar New Year become the school calendar, right?
Yeah.
So, on the nationwide, because we have the California and the New York City.
Yes.
Yes.
And New
it's
York State as well.
New York State.
Yeah.
New York State right now is the school
School holiday.
School holiday. But I'm talking about the
Oh, sure.
the holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
the
California.
political holiday. So NECAA, we also doing the since last year we make a proposal and passed by the Boston City Council. Let the Lunar New Year become the Boston official holiday. Yes, but this is the not take a day off because Massachusetts have the law not allow the city or the town create the holiday except the state holiday. So this is a problem why we cannot get the day off by the city Boston.
Yeah.
We have the Lunar New Year. Why? But this is the this we can if we don't have the day off, but we also have the another way to celebrate our holiday. So this year, February 10, NECAA, we are forced host the event on the Boston City Hall, the lobby. So I think this is the first one do this Lunar New Year holiday in the city of Boston. I think this is our headline for that. And also, the NECAA have the traditional the event since 2020. We are on the May AAPI Heritage Month on Boston Common. We will celebrate the AAPI culture. And the last year, we also let the Massachusetts Governor Mulahey sign a proclamation, let the AAPI May become the AAPI Heritage Month. So right now, so we can celebrate the May on Massachusetts is the official the holiday season. And I think maybe we need first up we need you need to take school day off or need everybody day off. But also we can do the celebrate for everything. For let all the community know what is our culture and why to celebrate. I think it's important for that. Yes.
Yes, very
My
true.
common
And
sense.
then when Gary mentioned the last, May 2023, when Governor Mulahey signed a proclamation, we were there in the audience receiving it, and actually due to Gary's effort, the proclamation spelled out, NECAA, UC, and the PAPA, and many other organizations explicitly.
Yes.
And I think that's, that's something that speaks volume about, through the engagement, participation, and then I think we do have access, we be at the table and this and that. So I also want to acknowledge another person here, Amy already did, Emima Sagiolo, because she's running for the state rep. And I think due to the nature of this forum, and I think we probably will not have you speaking here just due to the way it's set up. But then I think it's also interesting, I think you and I, we met, remember 2 or 3 years ago at the music festival at the gate there. And then, we were talking about Emmy is running, And then later on, NECAA endorsed her, and then, and then now she's running. She ran for mayor a couple of years ago. Now she is running for the state rep. The point is, there's many people among our community. They're doing this, but we do need more to do this. Okay, we need more to participate. So now comes the most fun part of it. So we're going to open the floor for questions. Okay, so the questions you ask the question. I'll see whether you can direct the question to one of the panelists. Or just asking. I will, rotate among the panelists, and then to answer your question. And then when each of them, when they answer questions, I would like them to also say a few words about their future plans, both near term and short term. Near term and long term. Thank you. Yeah.
Also welcome the question to the moderator.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, so questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you also everyone for your civic engagement. As a board, we have different towns. So from what I heard, I think we need to just prepare or scout and see who is next, and how to discover or how to encourage other people doing the same thing. So I want to just get the answer, see how we're scouting out what to do next.
So you're basically saying we need to line up more people, right? Who's
Yes.
the next?
Yes.
Anyone want to answer this question? Shan, you want to give it a try?
Sure. I think it's really you talk to people, you encourage people to run, and a lot of times, I think Ting was talking about, our kids will stay here. What we do will set a great role model for them, and what we are doing here is actually also setting a role model for the people in our community. In Acton Boxborough, we, in addition to myself, there are 4 other Chinese Americans who have already always serving on the school committee. So, just when people see there's someone like me or like someone else, like themselves who has done that before, then they are more willing to do it. So it's always the first person, probably it's harder. But you can also talk to people. It doesn't have to be within our own circle. Talk to your friends. When I run for school committee, I get a lot of help from non-Chinese American community members. So I think that's also important to reach out. Yeah.
What's your plan?
What's my plan? I am going to be, I just started my board president at the Discovery Museum. So it'll be 3 years, my sort of full-time community service on that. I don't know, and come to join parties like this. I suppose that's my plan.
No, come to UC National Convention.
Okay, all right.
That's a deal. Right, bring your wife too. We'll dance on the gala.
All right.
Thank you. So, yes.
Can I say a few words?
Yes, please. You can follow on that.
Yeah, I did have a plan to get people to get involved, but it hasn't been working as of now. But I do have confidence that by leading with, as an example, so more and more people will realize this is directly related to their interest. So, so the way I do it, I can spot a talent, and I will try to give them plenty of opportunities for either volunteer or leadership, especially the leadership position, to give them the task so they can really taste how to get it done, and also during the process we will offer plenty of help and also my experience as a town meeting member. So you need lots of patience in order to do that. It's not Rome is not built overnight. So it takes time. So be patient. I do have a plan. I hope it works out in the near future.
Thank you, Guanghan. Naturally, since Gary put me on the spot, I want to comment on that a little bit. You need organized effort. Okay, so organized effort. Unfortunately, what's interesting is, CAAN, CAL, we start all these nonprofit organizations where C-suite, we actually cannot even support our own candidate. So if I'm running, these organizations cannot. But NECAA, of course, could because we're C4. But at Lexington, we have a CAAN. So the CAAN is a political action committee that was devoted for this very cause. So we actually have been, since its inception, I think, 8 years some ago, we have been endorsing candidate, funding candidate. The most important thing is any, Chinese American running for town meeting member, they can get funding from us. Okay, and so that's where, and then we have sort of like, share recipes, share the menu, share what to do, how to do postcard, how to do canvassing, so all of that. And so we probably one of the first town level organization having such organization, like to do it. And so you can consider sort of the political arm of that. And so that's, that's also, you need that too, So that can be, and then of course you need to find a candidate and this and that. So Michelle, please.
Yeah, first of all, Michelle Law, I'm the president of the Newton Chinese American Association. So welcome to Newton. Really enjoyed all your sharing. I have a question more on your personal level. So we know that you're wearing so many hats, right? You're very successful serving in the community in a, I would say that, civic engagement. You also have a profession and you have maybe life, family. How do you sustain this? I think that's a question that a lot of times for our leaders, you spend so much time doing so many things. Passion is important, but how do you make it sustainable? You can do this not just one day, not 1 year, for a long time.
So great question. So what I'm going to do is, Emping well, so I'm not going to ask him to answer your question. And then I'm going to have Wang Hao and Emma answer this question. Thank you.
Emma, would you like to go first? Yeah.
My answer is I have no life. So, well, I don't know how many of you caught the slide, being a single mom, running a nonprofit, being also trying to work somehow, for the bread and butter, and also on NECAA board, other boards, and PTO. It's like all in my head. But I think what I try is to give myself every day some quiet time. And you can either meditate, sit, stand, whatever, or even lying down. Because sometimes it's like I lie down dead. I can't do anything. But I can still think and probably try to reflect on things and see what are the priorities, what can I do, what I cannot do, try to throw something off my plates. The kids is probably something that I, the least I should, but I actually first throw. But in some way, I think it's actually not a bad thing in the sense that I feel like that way, it's not like I'm totally not like dealing with them, but it's more of they know I have my life and they have to take care of their own life. So that way actually, like my daughter can cook for us and my son can take care of some things that was really surprising to me, but I kind of attribute that to I'm not able to take care of all of those things. And I also put this out there, like, I want to be a good mom, but maybe not the typical way that you saw a quote-unquote good mom does. So I think I'm still working on it, but I hope that's an acceptable answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Huh.
You want to? Oh.
Well,
you want to share your plan?
Yeah. Why don't? Yeah.
My plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. You
About
everybody get to see. Just talk about a little bit your plan.
In terms of getting more civic engagement, so since I got into town meeting, I started to observe what's going on. Being so new there and only since March. Yeah. By the way, can I get more time? I feel like all my story was stolen that I didn't get to tell. Just kidding. But I feel like I wanted to in the meantime, observing first of course, know what's going on, and then trying to think about what we could do as a group. Because what I've noticed is that all these town meeting members, even though we don't have that many Chinese, I think it's less than 10, we don't collaborate at all. I'm not saying that you have to only hang out with Chinese Americans on the town meeting, but there are certain things I feel like we could have done. Like CAAN does, try to give the know-how and all that, but I think there's more than that. And just about last night, I was talking to someone who's a veteran. She's not on town meeting, but she's on the Human Rights Committee. And we've been talking about, how to engage people. And then she tried to hook me up with someone on the Indian community side who has been doing this for years. And that guy is actually in my precinct and also a town meeting member. And he called me the same day. And we went through, and the conversation ended very quickly because the conclusion is that they don't have this problem. The question for him was, how can you probably educate your community members or Indian Americans so that they will be, there are more people who will be interested in getting more involved. And he's telling me, I only talk to those who's interested, and I got enough people already. And I'm like, okay, you're lucky. But we probably have a much long way to go, such that we have to think about how you can, first get enough people who's interested. And one thing that we came up last night, I then go back to the person that I talked to, and I had a conversation about, hey, this is what the answer I got. We're probably not going anywhere from that answer, but we then start to brainstorm, and we came up with an idea about the mock town meeting that the kids are taking in their middle school. Then this is very shocking to me when I was struggling at the town meeting, trying to understand all the terms, and I'm like, do you know what that means? And they were like, yeah, we had that in our middle school. What are you talking about? Why don't you understand? I'm like, okay. So I think the one that really need to be educated is the first generation immigrants like me, not like the kids from us. But one thing that we might be able to promote that we're thinking is to somehow bring these first generation parents at the same, into the classroom or the mock town meeting that their kids were brought to. And the pitch is gonna be, hey, you're not brought up with all these, and your kids are taking a class. Without you understanding this, they might not, or they might be at disadvantage in learning this. So you better learn with them. And then you can have a more efficient, productive conversation. And also, by doing that, we are hoping the parents will be able to understand better, this is how things run. This is what's been decided. This is what your kids are learning. And think about what you can do. And it could be, as little as starting donate or, with your money, your time, holding a sign, starting with little things like that. And then try to encourage them to run, when time comes. All right, thank you. Still back at the time, thanks.
Okay, so I will get to how I want to comment on that a little bit. So what's interesting is in Lexington, the Indian community, they have done a remarkable job. So this is not something that's just happening now. They've been doing this for the last 8 years. Okay, they're so focused. They have a group that's called IGIG. I knew is ahead of coordinating with that group. And it's called Getting Involved. So basically, Indian Getting Involved, right? So they've been doing this for 8 years in a row. So each year, they get candidates either writing or targeting wherever there's a vacancy that's easier to get in. They have lined up that they've been doing this. So as a result of it, they have close to 30, town meeting members in Lexington. So this is a field as outside of the Indian as a country. Lexington has the highest Indian participation in the entire world in the town meeting representation. So that's what our Indian community has been doing, and that's sort of like reflected in the situation there, right? So we also have run info sessions and this and that. In fact, Carol taught them, but our culture is slightly somewhat different, so we have a lot more work to do. But that's fine. And then also in Lexington right now, I think we have more than 15-ish about Chinese Americans serving in the town meetings and from our walks of life. So
Sorry, I want to follow up quickly on that. The person I've been talking to was Anil, and that I think was perfect dive in for the story here, because as you can see, we had like 3 writing options, right? Because like 4 people running for 7 seats, so you could have potentially 3 writings that goes in. And the IGIG sent 3 people. None of them got elected because they thought it's going to be an easy run. No one showed up at the poll, and we were there the whole day. And the other 2 that was elected are all white women who's already had a very wide connection of town. Like I talked to the one who got the most vote. She's like, oh, I only sent 50 emails, and they voted, their family, they themselves, and she got in, and she got the highest writing votes. And then the second one is someone I actually also knew, and she's also very well connected. She's been living in Lexington for decades, and like half of the town knows her. So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so again, many years ago, we also did running for one of the writing candidate. So the whole idea is, right, you don't take for granted. That time, there's only, one sort of writing suggestion. We said, like 10 votes will get you in. But we actually was able to get 50, 60 seats and secured. It turned out to be somebody got 30-some seats. So that's why you never take anything for granted. Okay, so and then we'll pretty much need to wrap up. So because we have after you will have one more question.
Sure. So I want to make sure I understand your question. How do we stay healthy, active, and sustain what we do, right? Michelle, thank you. That's a great question. I like your answer of give yourself some quiet time. I need a lot of quiet time. Well, the answer, let me just say points, right? One, you have to love what you do. Don't do it if it's a chore to you. Because, I think if you want to do this, you got to truly love it. Otherwise, you can't find time. You will have difficult times from time to time. When people are different, sometimes will let it out on you. It's hard to sustain. So that's the first thing. The second thing, of course, stay healthy. Exercise, eat well, keep your sugar level low, and as fit as Richard, you will do a good job.
Starving before this panel.
Lastly is really.
The library will be closing in 20
Yeah.
minutes. The second and third floors will close in 10 minutes. Please begin checking out all library
Great.
materials.
Thank you. One more thing is I think it's good to have a supporting structure around you to sustain, because this is not a one-person job. I enjoyed it, my campaigns, because I had a great team. I had so many volunteers. They do it together. You enjoy. You know people. You get not only your team, but also your neighbor, your community, and the leading voice in your city. Gradually, you will find a lot of fun. In the meantime, you will find things are easy to do. I enjoyed it, NECAA support. When Guo Liang made my first video interview, it opened me up, because that's actually my first speech publicly in August. So I enjoyed it. So have a good support around you. Believe it's not one man or one woman's job. and stay healthy and enjoy what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have time for one more question. Anyone from the audience? Yes, please.
Yeah, first, thank you. Thank you all for taking the time. Thank you all for taking the time to share all these memorable and inspiring stories with us. My name is Walter Zhang. I work for a law firm. We represent a lot of municipalities, towns, and more than 160 school districts in Massachusetts. I'm very interested in this. I want to get engaged down the road. I'm wondering, what do you think is stopping people, either the first generations or young people, from participating more? Because to solve a problem, we want to understand the problem. And what is that? And how can we, what's your thinking about solving this problem then?
Okay, so we'll have MP answer it, and then we'll have Gary say the last words, because we talk about somebody does love what he's doing.
Yeah, thanks very much for this good question. And I thought I've been here more than 36 years, about 36 years, learning pretty well, but still struggle. When I came on school committee, even though you could understand what I'm talking about, but when you're talking about specific issues, you realize you do not have knowledge. And also, let's be honest, a lot of things talk on the table, but under the table, you didn't know what's going on. You have to have network. So it's so important, get involved, and really involved. And that's, you build network. Then you got information which will not be shared with you through newspaper, through public media. And that's important. And also educate yourself. And this is a wonderful opportunity I want to emphasize. Like Newton, Boston, great Western suburbans, there are a lot of high quality people. Even the community itself are very high quality. I feel very privileged. And this is my fourth term, 7th year. Finally, I told people I feel comfortable to discuss. So again, I want to take this opportunity to thank people, because that's important. You learn from people, you share your ideas, and I don't want to forget, Jiang Hong is the board chair of our Chinese American Association, and Kong Xuan Kong give me a lot of support when I'm running for school committee, and he shared a lot of experience. And I want to take 30 seconds to finish my Lunar New Year story. Now that's important. Relate to this. I hope you are not sick and tired of it. I look at Lexington School Committee, 5 members. 2 are Asian members. One is second generation Chinese American, the other one is Indian American. And that's not surprise to pass the resolution. Looking at Quincy School Committee members, 7 members, they are all white, if I can tell from, of course, from pictures. All white. What tells us? I don't want to associate with the more Asians sitting on the school committee, you will get all things done for the Asian community. No. But there is something we have to think about that. Why only 1 to 6 lost this? So again, I want to encourage people, get involved. You never know what you will do. But when time comes, you are on the table. You want to jump on the table, too late. You have to get ready. When things coming, then you are ready. And that's very important. Like running for school committee, like running for city council, you need a network. And that's the learned lessons. But lastly, I want to say, I really appreciate I have experience in Newton. To answer Michelle's question, I thought I really enjoyed, because I retired from my work 2 years ago. Now I really enjoy it, because you're meeting so many people, you learn so many things, you feel you finally have a chance to give back, because this is a wonderful community. I want to send this message very loud, clear to people. Really appreciate, like this event. When I talked to the library, she immediately said, I want to sponsor this event. So we have free everything, and they give so much support. I really want to thank you for the library, for the sponsor organization, for the city, this is a tremendous privilege to live in Newton, and I think other people might share the same feeling. And this is the best part of the country, I would say. Boston area, western suburban towns like Newton, Lexington, Acton, beautiful, and we really enjoy it. And even People's Republic of Cambridge. I don't want to miss this. My daughter lives in Cambridge, and she said, I like the bicycle. If someone who against bicycling in city, I will not support. And I'm afraid that she did not support the, but that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
And new TV.
Yes, new TV. And we did not ask for new TV to come here, but library made all the arrangement. I really want to take this opportunity as a hosting here, as a Newton resident, and of course mayor and city council. It's all wonderful. And every day I feel the privilege and the blessed. This is tremendous, make my life very rich to work as school committee member. So thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, we do like to thank everybody, but I think when we ask for people's plan, for example, I think Shane hided away one of the fact. He's actually on the national working group of Asian American elected, officers, officials, whatever. So there's so we have we have the web of the vine, the great vines, everything. We know everything what's going on. But anyway, so the last word I'd like it to Gary. So he's our president of NECAA. And he's really embodied, we mentioned like you have to love what you do, and then, you will see him as a full of love and passion. So Gary, the final words are yours.
Time's out. No, I think, I think that also we need to thank you everyone, showing today for support us. And if we need to do the better, I think we can you can join NECAA and support NECAA.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So, Wang
Yeah.
can I just say one thing?
Yes, please.
I cannot let this evening pass that you say more good things about my wife than I had. To answer Michelle's question, I think the most important thing, it is very time consuming, but having great family support is very, very important. Yeah.
Or maybe single. Like a
Okay.
Right.
Well,
Thank you.
I think the time is almost the custodian will come here. Please.
Yes.
Kuchen is also the
我用中文可以吗？
Yes.
其实我觉得你像吴问的那个问题，确实是一个非常好的问题。
像我，
我什么还没笑死你？
但是我觉得其实真正就是汪老说的非常对，是 enjoy what you did， 就是这是非常重要。如果你 enjoy， 其实你不觉得这是个 bad， 你觉得这是一个乐趣。像我就是我在 NECAA。所谓的 co-chair 和王华一起是 co-chair， 但其实说白了就是给他们这些各位乐士领导打杂。这个其实打杂大家觉得是可是我在打杂中获得了非常多的乐趣，非常深的乐趣。当你和一件事物发生非常深切的关系的时候，你会非常 enjoy 所有的 feedback， 你会非常 enjoy 所有的 feedback。所以，但就是期待有更多的人可以加入到 NECAA， 或者是说不用加入 NECAA，
一起打杂，
一起打杂，civil engagement 的事情，然后 enjoy。
OK。
Thank you.